Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Let's start off with Trina. First of all, Trina is on the phone and she's just blabbing out her whole business. Yeah, when we went to that bar, because we are all underage and, we tracked down that lead and then there was a bar fight or whatever. I'm just like, girl, can you, you do realize you're on a cell phone, not a microphone? Like, why are you speaking so loud? So she walks in there. She sees Taggart, Portia, and Curtis, and she's nervous because she's sitting there thinking that they already knew about the bar incident and everything like that. But they're like, listen, we got your text about the whole, Title IX thing or whatever. We're going to fight it because we think it's BS, like we're really angry about this. And Trina's like, nah, it's cool. Nah, it's whatever, No, actually, tell you the truth, but I think this is actually a good thing. I'm just I'm so happy now. After everything, and I'm just like, what? You're happy after the whole? I was like, okay. One of the things that Trina can't do is seem to because she obviously didn't want them to know why she was so happy and about her going to a bar and everything like that. But for her to come out of her mouth and be like, oh yeah, no, it's cool, no big deal. So, Portia's like, well, why are you so happy for it? One thing leads to another. And, they find out that, her and Jocelyn was at a bar, just a really seedy, shady bar. So, Portia's upset about the bar, but, Curtis and Taggart know that bar. Um, so they're like, yo, what in the hell is going on? And at first, Portia's not happy about that. Taggart is Taggart is livid. Curtis, he's not happy what she did, but at the same time, those are her two parents, so it's not like you can really have a real reaction or whatever. So they're kind of upset. But then Portia's like, what, listen, I'm actually proud of her. After finding out the lead and everything like that, she's like, what, listen, I'm actually proud of her because she's doing something for herself that the PCP or whatever couldn't do so far. She's taking control back. She's fighting for her life. Um, So she's proud of that. And after a while, Taggart comes around. It's like, yeah, listen, I'm disappointed, but I'm proud at the same time. Like, he was more worried than, so much, fully disappointed in her. Now, at some point, I think Curtis was like, well, you need to, at this point, you can let the professionals handle it. Or somebody was like, let the professionals, let the PC, let the police handle it, yada, yada, yada. And I think Curtis was like, well, after all, you got an ex-cop and you got a PI. And I'm like, yeah. And where were you up until this point? Hmm? Where, where are you up to this point? You know? The fact of the matter is, she did something that Curtis, at least, I wouldn't sit there and say Taggart, but at least Curtis could actually did it. Maybe bring in Sam or whatever. But they're like, oh, Kurt's like, oh, you're brave or whatever, and I would have done that, and yada yada yada. And I'm just like, you could have done so much more, but you didn't at all. Like, not any one of y'all. Portia could at least hire her PI, or well, hell, why even hire a PI when you're practically sleeping with one? But so in a lot of ways, I found that scene just kind of funny, like. She managed to do something that the three grown adults in a room didn't even think about, but okay. Alright. So Esme comes to see Kevin. She's not there talking about, she wants to be in this new program or whatever, and she has to do a case study. So she wants to do a case study on Ryan. What she's really doing, and as a psychologist, I'm just like, how did you not see this? How did you not pick up on this? What Esme adds, talks about Ryan as far as do you think has he ever actually formed any sort of attachments or whatever? Um, and some of the Well, okay, yeah, you know what? Never mind. I scratched that whole thing. But pretty much what she's doing is she's asking him questions as far as like attachment and things of that nature. Because she wants to know like how much is like how much is Ryan, how much is Ryan in her. Because she starts talking about, oh, distance and, manipulating people and not really having a lot of friends and things of that nature. So she's pretty much asking a diagnosis for herself. I don't know. Actually, now I think about it, I'm just surprised that Kevin didn't actually pick up on that a little bit, but whatever. Um, But Kevin, is just like, listen, he's a psychopath, this, that, and third, and no one should have access to him, and he's really dangerous. Even just him talking and yada yada yada. And I'm just like, I mean, granted, I'm saying to say it's like you're literally comparing him to Hannibal Lecter, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure that Ryan was in some ways kind of inspired a little bit by Hannibal Lecter. Um, I'm like, bro, he is like, he can't move or anything like that. He can blink, It's like, but he's gonna sit there and blank a couple of words, and you're just gonna be like, oh, I should totally do this because you manipulated me. It's like, what? Really? I feel like in some ways you're giving him a little bit too much credit, but whatever. So he leaves, and at some point, because Felicia was sitting there talking to Mac about, seeing Ryan and everything like that, and staring him down, and sitting there saying not one, yada, yada, yada. Of course, Mac wasn't happy with that, but this is more about Felicia, I guess gaining back some power and just feeling more cathartic or whatever. So he'll get together with Laura and Kevin. He eventually gets there. And Felicia sits there and talked about, oh, yeah, his aide or whatever, talked about the aide and talked about the fact, her name was Esme. Now at this point, Kevin is just like, yo, I literally made sure that he couldn't, that she couldn't have access to him. And she's just going around all my orders and everything like that, and now asking, questions about Ryan or whatever for some sort of, homework assignment or whatever. So at this point, he's not happy about it, and I don't know how. Here's the thing: I don't know how he found. I don't know how he found Esme. I mean, yeah, I know Spencer works there or whatever. But what's what is the chance? Anyway, he runs into Esme at Kelly's, and after Spencer goes like put away his stuff or whatever, um, Esme comes out there, and Kevin's like, "Yo, listen, I literally specifically made sure that you couldn't see, Ryan because he's a dangerous sociopath, and I've told you this more than once, and you just found ways to just go around me, this, that, and third." So you're like, at this point, yo, your whole like internship or whatever, you're fired, you're done, and I'm making sure you can never see him ever again. So she is livid. And I'm pretty sure Ryan's going to be kind of pissed off too because, he literally said, like, listen, the fewer times we see each other, you know, the better it works out for my plan. And I need you as far as part of my plan. But she kept making all these, um, these arranged visits, or whatever, that could just went sour at any point in time. And now Felicia, ratted her out. So I'm pretty sure the next time that he actually gets a chance to see Ryan, I mean, she sees Ryan, he is going to be livid. I wonder, could he actually strangle her with one hand? Now, the rest of this episode is kind of so. I mean, you got Laura Snicket talking to, um, Martin about. Well, Martin was Snicket telling Laura that Cyrus wasn't the one that was after them, but now they don't know who's after them. But Laura's like, I think it's Victor. Talks about the the fact that she thinks that um Victor had a hand in Luke's death or whatever. Which again, I'm Here's the thing. I try not to bitch about this as much as possible because I feel like there's just no point. But I just to this day, even since we're talking about Luke's death, it's just like it just feels off. It just genuinely feels off. Anyway, talk about that. And, she's like, most likely Jennifer Smith did it. But with that being said, Laura has what she likes to call baby steps. So what Laura's planning on doing is getting him deported, you know. And granted, it's not a cure or a fix or whatever, but it's a way to lessen Victor's influence on Spencer and Nicholas. Of course, with Victor's connections or whatever, I'm just like, I don't know if that's actually going to work. I feel like it will work for plot convenience, but I feel like Victor has way more connections than Laura does. Um, and I'm pretty sure he can easily stop that. But for some odd reason, I feel like it's not going to happen. What I do feel like is going to wind up happening, and granted, this is just a wild theory. So, if you see the previews, you know that Laura's talking to somebody. I'm not too sure who, because I don't know. The copy I got was a little kind of fuzzy. I feel like Victor can sit there and leverage this if, um, and that's a big if he knows that Laura did not win that first election. If Laura didn't win that first election, when Spencer actually tampered with the a voting box or whatever, if he somehow found that out, he can use it as leverage. I feel like that's kind of a huge trump card, but I feel like maybe in this situation, he may try to use that as far as like to block his whole, deportation or whatever. But I don't know. It's kind of odd. Alexis showing up like literally the last 5 minutes of the episode, um, telling Laura that something bad is about to happen tomorrow. Um, Again, I don't know if this has anything to do with the election or anything like that, but it was something else that I kind of forgot to mention, and I was like, I'm kind of going to kick myself if I did not mention this. Um, Especially since she literally showed up against like 5 minutes before the episode ended. I don't know. I wasn't exactly really feeling the stuff that was going on between Anna and Valentin. I mean, all that really happened was that in the beginning, Valentin was asking questions as far as, the investigation. And Anna got kind of sus about the whole thing, was like, oh, was this really a date or, you just meant to trying to pump me from information and yada, yada, yada. Long story short, he gives an answer and she believes him and she agrees to go on a second date because, you know, whatever. And once again, when Valentin was sitting there talking about, oh, Felicia was giving me an earful about me blowing you off a couple of times, and Anna not really saying too much or anything. I'm just kind of once again, I just want to sit there and point out that how long have you left this man in the friend zone, and now that you're giving him a chance, he has a couple of different things that's going on, because he's a grown ass adult and got responsibilities and stuff like that. You're all like, oh, you blew me off. Why should I go on a date with you? Like, sweetheart, how long has he been since you trying to get with you? And how long have you known about that and just been kind of keeping that arm's length? But now a couple of things come up and you're like, oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you really want to be with me. It's like, what? Anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they don't really talk about too much of anything else. I can't really think of anything else that they really talk about that really goes anywhere. Um, Except for the fact that, I guess when Valentine went to go get some popcorn, he came back, Anna was like, oh, you got a text or whatever, and Valentine was from who? And Anna was like, oh, well, I didn't really look. And then something along the lines of keeping secrets or whatever, I was like, yo, listen, it's a text, like, relax. Um, of course, Valentine is keeping secrets, but she doesn't know that. So I guess we'll just sit there and I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of just like it didn't really seem like it went anywhere, but I was like I want to sit there and talk about it because it was in the episode, even though again it didn't go anywhere. Now Spencer and Victor were catching up, and one of the things that Spencer asked Victor to do was try to find Esme's parents. Didn't really sit there and tell him why. It was just like, oh, I'm keeping my cars close to the vest or whatever. So, Victor's like, I'll do it, but, you may not have the results. Like, you may not be happy with the results. She may not be happy with the results if I do find them. Now, I don't really understand how is this going to help Trina as far as Spencer finding her parents. I don't really get that. I don't see how that's relevant to, the case that's at hand or the fact that Trina may be going to jail and how that's going to sit there and stop it. I don't really get that, but to be honest, Spencer's plan wasn't a good one from the start. I mean, his plan was to sit there and wait and get close to her and wait until she makes a mistake. And then that didn't work out. So now he's sitting there digging through her stuff and everything like that, and he gets caught. And then he blows up at her a couple of times, but he realized that he needs to keep her close, not far away. So he sucks up. He gives her more power to whatever relationship they want to sit there and call it. And now he's sitting there trying to look for her parents. And I'm just like, how is this how is this going to help Trina? I genuinely want to know how this is going to help Trina. Now again, maybe it's a larger plan that I'm just not seeing. Um, and I am interested to sit there and find out, but I guess we'll just sit there and wait for that. Now, one of the things, and this is just a little sidebar thing. Never mind. It's not really relevant to the episode. Hmm. I feel like that's about it. I really do. I don't know. Sometimes these episodes kind of bother me for a couple of different reasons. One, because it's like, man, how is like sometimes every now and then I'll sit there and be like, I wonder if I did a good job on the review or if I did a good job on the video or whatever. Because I'm just like, I'm talking about stuff that wasn't really that good. I mean, the Felicia and Max stuff wasn't really that good. It wasn't terrible. Now that I will sit there and say about Felicia is that she's probably going to have a better storyline coming up. Like once Ryan gets free and starts terrorizing people, whatever. I'm pretty sure her story's going to pop off, and so will Mac. But today, all they did was talk about, oh, baby, and so glad that we're not, wanting another child or whatever. And it's like, bro, no one in the audience really most people in the audience really didn't care or even was even thinking about the fact that Jar would have another child. Like it was just stupid to begin with. So I don't know why we started off with that. The Esme and Kevin stuff was interesting because again, she's meant to trying to fish to get a diagnosis on herself to try to see how far or how more closer is she to Ryan. Um, Valentin and Anna stuff again didn't really go anywhere. Um, I feel like that will go somewhere at some point, but we have episodes like this and Fridays that really didn't go anywhere. Um, yeah, I mean, for the most part, like I said, this episode wasn't really that great. I feel like sometimes, like some of these episodes, it's like they'll either wait until sweeps week or they'll wait until their ratings start to get a little bit kind of low. Because like with some of these episodes, like you can kind of miss some of them and um catch up to sit there and see what's going on. Some episodes are definitely worth watching because when you get to see how like stuff plays out, like last year with the whole or was it this year, I forgot. With the whole Jason and Drew escaping Castle Island or, with Britt and Peter and everything like that, like that was great. That was I would sit there and say much watch TV. The stuff with Cyrus or whatever, I would definitely sit there and say is much watch TV. Hell, even when Cyrus was giving Julian, um, schooling Julian on responsibilities and things of that nature, just really schooling him, that was a moment to see. I can't, besides the whole Trina stuff, really, I can't think of one moment where it was like if you didn't watch it and you didn't watch either Brock TV's review or my review, that you wouldn't know what was going on, you know? And then that scene was kind of funny because all it really pointed out was that the adults in her life was generally failing her, and Trina had to sit there and take matters into her own hand. And how even Portia pointed out, you know, listen, she's fighting for her life. We may not like the fact that she was in the bar by herself, but we got to give her props for getting a lead when other people couldn't. You know, like the ex-cop that's over there and the PI that's over here. That was like, oh, well, you got an ex-PI and ex-cop. It was like, I didn't see you doing a goddamn thing before, but okay, sure. Um, anyway, I feel like that's about it. So, thank you for listening to my 3 or 4 minutes of a rant. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know your thoughts on in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.